Hey guys, Sean here and welcome to the F1 Word. So then, after 17 years in Formula 1, Fernando Alonso is walking away from the sport for now at least. And what a career he has had since he debuted in 2001. 32 wins, 2 world titles, and many do see him as one of the best drivers of his generation. And in fairness, I tend to agree. Look, I could not stand him during his title-winning years, but that had nothing to do with him as a driver or his incredible ability, and everything to do with the fact that I was a huge Michael Schumacher fanboy, and so was always going to be disappointed to see a young driver starting to beat him. But having grown up and looked back, there is absolutely no denying the talent Alonso had at the time, and still has today. Before I get on to my views on him now, I'm going to go all the way back to 2001 and have a quick look back through his F1 career. He had a decent first season at Minardi and certainly turned a few heads in the way he outdrove that car. Okay, no, he didn't score points, but points aren't everything when it comes to rookie drivers. It's more about gaining that early experience. He didn't race in 2002, instead spending the year as test driver at Renault, but in 2003 he was back in a race seat and hit form pretty much right from the off. 3 podiums in the first 5 races was impressive, and he took his first career win later in the season at the Hungarian Grand Prix, and what a stunning drive that was, by the way. He dominated that race, ending up over 16 seconds up the road from Kimi Raikkonen in second place, and much to my pain at the time, even lapped eventual world champion Michael Schumacher. Incredible drive. He didn't win in 2004, but had a solid year to build on what he'd achieved in 2003, but 2005, well, what a year. 7 wins out of 19 races and a total of 15 podiums, which helped him take the title by 21 points from runner-up Kimi Raikkonen. A year on and in 2006 he made it back-to-back titles with 7 wins from 18 races and a total of 14 podiums. He ended that year 13 points clear of Michael Schumacher, who finished in second place. Now, at that point, if somebody had told me, hey, Sean, Alonso's not going to win another world championship again, quite frankly, I would have laughed right in their face. Especially given that he made the move to McLaren for 2007, which was a move that completely made sense at the time. But 2007 was a difficult season off track for the Spaniard. He very much arrived at McLaren with quite a bit of a fanfare behind him. And I think when I look back at it now, I feel like he expected it to be his team and that a young Lewis Hamilton would be there to learn from him rather than challenge him, if that makes sense. But as we all know, that didn't happen. But despite all the drama and the controversy, he missed out on the title by just 1 point. In 2008, he returned to Renault where he picked up 2 wins, 1 in Singapore and 1 in Japan. Now, obviously, that win in Singapore was thanks to Crashgate and obviously massively controversial. But his drive in Japan was excellent and was very much all down to speed. It wasn't a particularly brilliant couple of years at Renault, but in 2010 he made the switch to Ferrari and was so close once again to taking the title. Just 4 points off Sebastian Vettel, who snatched it from him in Abu Dhabi, a combination of a very good drive from Vettel, a Ferrari strategy error, and Alonso not being able to pass Vitaly Petrov. 1 win in 2011 was not really what he or Ferrari expected, but in 2012 he was absolutely brilliant. I can't think of any other way to put it other than saying that Ferrari was a dog of a car, and yet he still managed to drag it to within 3 points of the title. So close once again, and he just proved that he is capable of outdriving his car. It did look as though he was set for another title fight in 2013, having won 2 of the opening 5 races and taking a total of 3 podiums. However, the rest of that season did not follow that form. Yes, he went on to take another 6 podium finishes, but he fell well short of a title challenge, and 2014 was, well, dire, really. Just 2 podiums all year, and that was it for his time at the Scuderia as he moved to McLaren, and we all know how that went. It was a miserable 4 seasons with the Woking team, and that's despite so much hype and expectation when he made that move in 2015. But 3 years with Honda yielded no podiums and obviously therefore no wins. And even in 2018, despite a very promising start, he wasn't able to get close to the podium. And the second half of the year was just not good at all. Looking at the stats, he had just 1 points finish in the last 9 races. 2018 though was a good year in terms of racing elsewhere for him. He took the second part of the infamous Triple Crown by winning at Le Mans, and he will be racing in other series next year as he finishes off his WEC season, will once again be racing in Daytona, and will be taking part in the Indy 500. That was a quick run through his F1 career then, but what do I make of Fernando Alonso? As I said earlier in the video, because of my Schumacher fanboyism, I just wasn't a fan of his at the time. And in all honesty, I am very disappointed that I couldn't enjoy and appreciate his driving at the time. But looking back, he was an absolute machine and such a huge talent. And although he hasn't won a title since 2006, he has still been immense and one of the best drivers on the grid, probably of his generation. Yes, he could have won more titles and perhaps should have in some people's eyes, but bad luck plays a part in title defeats just as much as good luck plays a part in title wins. It's fair to say, though, he has certainly made me a big fan. Looking at the other side, there are still negatives though, particularly over the last year or so. He has been very outspoken about his dislike of the way Formula 1 is at the moment, and I can completely understand that. But he has been a real moaner, if you like, since he announced his retirement this year. Alright, that doesn't change my view of his talent or indeed much of his career, but it does leave a little bit of a sour taste in the mouth. Put it this way, for some, one of their last memories of Alonso in F1 could well be of him attacking the sport. But my biggest criticism of him is his decision making. Going back to 2007, I think he made the right call to move to McLaren, I really do. But 2015? No. Okay, that's with the benefit of hindsight, and given how it ended with Ferrari, there weren't really a huge number of options available to him. But he still made the call. I will say though, in his defence I guess, he made that call after being sold a dream by Ron Dennis, and Alonso can only go on what Dennis and Honda are telling him. Ultimately it was a gamble, and at the end of the day, it didn't pay off. But when people say he was unlucky with some of his career moves, we have to remember he made those decisions, nobody else. He could have gone to Red Bull on a couple of occasions, but he chose Ferrari, which by the way I completely get because it's Ferrari. And some might even argue that it's no coincidence that Alonso moves to a new team and all of a sudden there are problems. And perhaps that's a conversation to have during a future live stream. But I'm not going to dwell on that any longer because regardless of how his career choices are viewed, he is still a fantastic driver and one that I personally will very much miss from the F1 grid. I will miss his awesome team radio, his brilliant press conference moments, but ultimately I'll miss him because of his undeniable talent, his ability and general brilliance. Will he be back one day? I doubt he will return as a driver, so farewell Fernando and thank you. As always, they are just a few of my thoughts and, I suppose, ponderings on Fernando Alonso, but what are yours? Are you a big Alonso fan? How do you rate his Formula 1 career? And will you miss him from the grid? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Now, I will be back live tomorrow at 6 PM UK time for the F1 Word Christmas special. Could be interesting, so make sure you come along and get involved in some very random festive fun. But in the meantime, you can follow me over on social media. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.